Welcome back, guys, we're starting off with Learning Unit 4, and this is just a quick overview. In Learning Unit 1, we covered off the difference between project management and what a project is. In Learning Unit 2, we covered off how to go about identifying a specific project. And in Learning Unit 3, things started getting interesting, and we touched on how to put together a project proposal, and we also started putting together some of the key documents that you're going to be using in your assignment, which is the project charter, as well as putting together a project proposal. So now we're doing project planning, and some would say that project planning is one of the most important parts of project management. This particular learning unit consists of 3 parts, and the first part, which is project objective, scope and quality plan. The second part is project scheduling, and this is fairly long, and I will cut this into 2 recordings for you, which might make things a bit easier. And then chapter 9, we deal with project closing, and that you'll find on pages 305 to 313. It's a very small chapter. So starting off with theme 1, which is project scope, objective and the quality plan. So after going through this particular lesson, you should know what a project objective is. You should know how to prepare a project scope document, and also discuss and apply the different elements of the quality plan. All of this you'll find between pages 105 and 112. Before we go there, let's just quickly pause and have a look and talk through the importance of developing a project plan. A project plan is nothing more than a breakdown of what needs to be done, how it must be done, who will do it, how long it's going to take to be done, and how much it will cost, and the risk associated with you doing your particular project. So again, a project plan is nothing more than a breakdown of what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, who will do it, how long it will take to do it, and how much it will cost, and the risks associated with securing and finishing off that particular project. The first thing you need to do is understand what the project objectives are. And these project objectives are not your objectives as a project manager or as a project team, but your clients or your sponsors' objectives. Generally, these objectives have been put together or will come from the project charter. You would have listed that in the project charter, and at times it can be a tangible end product. So if you are tasked with building a bridge, then the bridge would be your project objective by all means, but sometimes it might even be an intangible project. So sometimes you have an intangible product like putting together a digital marketing plan. Is not something you can touch, but it is maybe a digital marketing strategy, or integrating 2 different departments into a business, or it could be something like a piece of software that needs to be developed. So it can be something that's really tangible. There can be a specific end product, but it can also be a business objective to grow market share by 5%, and you put together a project in order to achieve that particular objective. The objectives also include the expected benefits to the business, to your client's business, and the primary end product and deliverable, the date it's required, as well as the budget. The project scope is expressed through the project scope document. So project scope essentially is it encapsulates what the project is all about. It defines what needs to be done. And normally that comes from your project proposal that you've submitted to your client. And it establishes some common understanding of the scope to all of the stakeholders. So this is the first time in which you're inviting all of the stakeholders together into one place, and you present what the project scope is. It usually contains things like the customer requirements, the statement of work, deliverables, acceptance criteria, and a work breakdown structure. We'll get to a work breakdown structure in a minute. Essentially, your project scope document is a baseline. This is your plan. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're planning to do. And it's important in order to ensure that there is no scope creep. So what is this thing called scope creep? Scope creep is where your client comes to you during the course of the project and add things on. So they add things on. So they have to develop a digital marketing strategy, and along the way they add on a product launch, or along the way they add on some sort of outdoor promotional activity as well. Because you're working on it, you might as well do that as well. Or maybe along the way they add on, you have to work on their website as well. So those can be things that are outside of the scope that the client adds on. And if you don't have a scope document, it is very difficult to prevent that scope creep from occurring. Because scope creep, remember, if you did not plan to do the work, all of that is additional cost. It can either be in resources or it can be in time. Quality is an important part of your scoping process, and quality essentially means that you have delivered 100% of what the client expected you to have. You have delivered 100% of what the client wanted you to deliver. And that is what quality is. In simple terms, it is essentially you have met the specifications and standards that you've agreed to, and you have put together a certain list of quality tools and techniques that you're going to use to measure you and ensure that you continuously meet that quality standard. So again, quality not in the sense of a product looking good, or not in the sense of a premium product, but a quality simply means that you've met the objectives 100% of the time. So that brings a close to our first theme, which sort of sets the scene. It talks about understanding project objectives and understanding the scoping document, and then also closes off with quality. The next section is in two parts, and I will deal with the first part, which is understanding the who and the what, and then the second part will deal with the when.